Alright, we live shit. Alright, what's good? Shit, we're here with Peblo Da BG.
What's happening? What's happening?
How you feeling today?
Oh man, I'm feeling great, man. Blessed.
Yes, sir. So, what would you consider yourself? An artist?
Yeah, I consider myself an artist, man. I graduated from the rap stage.
And originally, where you from? Where you born and raised?
I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana. Born in the East, but raised in the Southern Ward in the East. You know what I'm saying? Was uptown too. Great growing from uptown, so I was uptown, so you know what I'm saying? Been all over New Orleans.
Like growing up, were you an only child, big family? What was that?
I got
dynamic?
a brother. Growing up, it was me and my brother. I got a little sister now that's 5 years old, just turned 5. But growing up, it was me and my brother in the house, and we kind of like, you know, two different people. You know what I'm saying? But we grew up with the same mom, the same daddy.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, how was the experience growing up? Like, where you from? You know, like everyone has a different experience. I know New Orleans is different than Denver. Like, how was the experience growing up in New Orleans? Someone who doesn't know what it's like.
I mean, in my era, it was tough. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of stuff you had to learn, survival skills at an early age. You know what I'm saying? Watch your surroundings at an early age as a kid. Be aware of things. You know what I'm saying? Seeing things at an early age. Like I probably saw my first shooting at I was 5, 6 years old. I can remember like yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Things like that was being exposed to things real early on in life. You feel me? So
That type of life, like, do you get more exposure to like having weapons or like living that street life, you know, hustling?
Definitely, yeah. That kind of like, cause to be honest, my mom tried to raise us different, you know what I'm saying, from that kind of life. So that's the reason she was in the East area. But it's like, you know, you could show your child only so much, cause that's like me and my brother, we different, you feel me? My brother was more into being into, you know, books and school, you know what I'm saying? And I wanted to be in the streets and wanted to do all kind of, you know, crazy stuff like that. You feel me? So all that influence, just being around it, you know, so much, it was easy to be influenced, you know what I'm saying? Because it was right there in our face, you know what I'm saying? So,
like, is that kind of like how the music started? Like, living that life?
I ain't gonna say not the music, because the music in me, you know, the music is pretty much in my genes. My grandma used to sing background with a group called the Neville Brothers. You feel me? And Aaron Neville, she used to sing background with him. We also had a cousin who named Percy Stovall's. He was a booking agent in New Orleans. Where he was the only one you could go through. All the top artists, he was the only one you could go through back in the day. So I had people like that, you know, that's been in my family dealing with music, and it always been catchy to me, you know what I'm saying? And at the age of 6, my grandma asked me, rest her soul, Grandma Rosie, she asked me, you know how they ask you want to go to college, you want to go to school? Well, she asked me, she's like, you want to go to college when you go? And I'm like, no. And she like, what you gonna be? And I was like, I want to be a rapper, you know what I'm saying? And she was like, you can't be Lil Wayne. So I was like, man, I want to be myself or whatever. So since 6 years old, I told her that. And at the age of 8, I started writing, you know what I'm saying? And I've been at it since then, started recording at 11 years old.
Like, I feel like music's part of it, but what I know you as is like a hustler. Like, you a go-getter, you're always active. Mm-hmm. Like where does that go-getter mentality, that hustler mentality come from?
Shit, from my mom and my dad, to be honest. I mean, but I seen my mama working 2 and 3 jobs, you feel what I'm saying? And I've seen my daddy, because my daddy was a barber as we was coming up. He used to cut hair, you know what I'm saying? But as you know, barbers do all kind of different hustles, you know what I'm saying? My pa used to do ringtones on phone, he had Nextels. You know what I'm saying? He had other little side hustles. He used to sell phones, you know what I'm talking about? And, you know, other little things, you know what I'm saying, that I've seen him do. And that just had me doing it, because we used to be in a barber shop with him too, me and my brother, when we was young. And I remember being like 6 or 7 years old. After, you know, they finished cutting hair, we used to go to East Station and sweep up the station, sweep the hair, you know what I'm saying? And then at the end of the day, we used to go to East Barber, dap them off, and we trying to, you know, collect our money. We go, so we'll leave the end of the day probably like $10 as, you know, 6, 7 years old. That was a lot of money. So, you know, it started off early. You dig what I'm saying? And I always like my own money. I don't like to ask people for nothing. You feel me? So even like when I got a little older, that's what got me into like selling little weed here and there, you know what I'm saying, when I used to do it, because I started doing that at 13. Well, that had me, that's another story, but I started smoking early, so I also wanted my own money. I'd get lunch money from my mama, get another little extra $10 to add to that 30, give me a little something, and I, you know, be flipping it from there. So, you know, I had always some little schemes on trying to make my own dollars, man.
Like, I didn't know that part of your life, because when I met you already had like transitioned mentally.
Right, yo.
So, like, from where I know you're at right now, like as like a legit business owner, do you feel like that mentality carried over to like being a legal business owner?
In a way, yeah, because you know, the hustle mentality. I mean, that's like I got a few different businesses. I don't just have one business. I got a couple of businesses that I operate, you know what I'm saying? And that's like with having different hustles, a couple of hustles and stuff, because, all right, I was working at 3 jobs. I was working Wendy's, Waffle House, and Winn-Dixie at one point in time in my life. First, I was at Wendy's. I was at Wendy's first at 16. But I was selling the drugs here and there. Caught a charge. When I caught my charge, I had to pay lawyer fees and all that. So that forced me to get another job. Got me a second job. Had to pay the lawyer. And once I did that, I was like, man, you know what? All the money I threw down the drain, paying these lawyer fees and all that, man, I might as well just go ahead on and you know, give me another job after I finish paying the lawyer fees and everything, and just start pocketing that money, because I'm like, all the money I threw down the drain, I could have then got a car, got all, you know, all kind of stuff. So that just like made me be like, man, look, do it the legal way, you know what I'm saying, and flip the script. And then once I started doing the 3 jobs, I started working at this little, my cousin, shout out Cool Visa, you heard? OOF, one and only fan. That's my cousin, but that's like my brother right there, you heard? But shout out to him, because even when I was doing little street stuff, he used to always be on me. He used to be like, man, look, don't do it, don't do this. You don't need to be doing it, but if you're going to do it this way. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to be doing it. You feel me? And then once I transitioned and I started working jobs and doing that, he was working at this job cutting grass at this little place on the Ninth Wall, New Orleans, and you know, the Ninth Wall, and at this Jackson Barrier cutting grass. So he was like, man, you working 2-3 jobs, man. This job, it pay this. You go, you know, eliminate 1 or 2 of them and come over here and start cutting grass. So to make a long story short with that, I went to cutting grass with him, and then me and him used to be out there just plotting on stuff, and we like, man, we working for this base cutting grass, man. We could get our own equipment sooner or later, you feel what I'm saying, and go get our own business, man, be making way more money, you know what I'm saying, doing our own thing. I'm like, man, damn, you right. So make a long story short with that situation, I went and got me a little weed eater and a blower. I started over the weed eater, a hand blower. You feel what I'm saying? I used to be in a car. I ain't have no truck or nothing like that. I used to drive my, I used to be like, boy, you need to get a truck, boy, you got all that in the car. But I had to start somewhere, you heard me? So I used to be working a job, and then I'll finish working that job, and then go cut like 2 or 3 customers. You feel what I'm saying? After that. And then I built up enough customers to where I was able to leave the job I was working, because I wanted to start doing the electrician work too with my cousin, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my cousin, the wife from Lacombe, you heard me? I got to shout him out, because he showed me some game with, you know, legit way too, because he was somebody who did time behind some illegal stuff, come straight home and went straight legit, and he doing real good. I'm talking about like he got his own electrician business and everything. But make a long story short with that, he showed me the game with the electrician work. I did that for about 4 years, and once I started building up my clientele with my customers with the grass and, you know, doing electrician jobs, I was able to branch off and go do my own thing, you heard me?
As like transitioning from that, like, did you feel more accomplished once you became an owner instead of a worker?
Yeah, big accomplishment, bro. Because to be honest with you, you know, that's what I was set to be anyway. You feel what I'm saying? I've always learned quick with things, and I'm saying, and picked up on things quick to be able to do it on my own. You feel what I'm saying? So it was always that, and not only that, I've always been an artist. You know what I'm saying? But being an artist, it's like it's hard to work a job and be an artist, right? So you still gotta pay the bills, you still gotta do this, you feel what I'm saying, at the same time, but you gotta be on your own time. So I started working towards, all right, yeah, I'm doing all this. I used to still be selling my CDs, cause I used to stand in front of the store. Peblo Da BG. You know they on phone. What you gonna do for me?
You always want something, but you never give me nothing. What you gon' do for me? Never ask about a fee. You always want something for free. What you gon' do for me? You don't care if I eat, plus I got a family to feed. What you gon' do for me? When I wasn't on my feet, you weren't trying to give me a seat. What you gon' do for me? You always want something, but you never give me nothing. What you gon' do for me? Never ask about a fee. You always want something for free. What you gon' do for me? You don't care if I eat, plus I got a family to feed. What you gon' do for me? When I wasn't on my feet, you weren't trying to give me a seat. What you gon' do for me? Don't be saying that you got my back. Show me, cause it's something I need to see. Yeah, they be talking, but they can't send me no dreams, cause I ain't the one who gon' believe. Yeah, I've been out here, and I've been ahead of my time. Talking about before I was a teen. Learned about life as I got a little bit older. It changed when I first had my seat. Been about business. I was on a whole nother level and wanted to be in them streets. Money been good. Had a few niggas used to front me when I had to get on my feet. Then I got my own. Put a couple of my niggas on, but that's something I ain't even gotta speak. Couldn't do it all, but one thing I'ma do for sure. I'ma make sure that we gon' eat. Talk from the best. I'ma keep it 100, nothing less. I ain't got time for the stress. Came out the mud. Never been scared to get dirty, even though I know that I be fresh. No competition. I be so focused on myself. The reason I ain't worried about the rest. I ain't into games. Ain't got no time to be playing. Probably ain't the one you wanna test. What you gon' do for me? You always want something, but you never give me nothing. What you gon' do for me? Never ask about a fee. You always want something for free. What you gon' do for me? You don't care if I eat, plus I got a family to feed. What you gon' do for me? When I wasn't on my feet, you weren't trying to give